Good morning. I'm former Press Secretary Attorney 𝐒𝐏𝐿𝐶 of the Marcos administration.
And I'm former Cabinet Secretary Relly Fajardo from President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo's administration.
And we are the spokes. From the Palos Falls then to our group chats now,
We'll be giving you conversations that will make you think and assess.
so that you could come up with your own personal opinion. Hitting the headlines. Hitting the headlines and noted by the spokes. No word from the president whether the ICI will continue or be dissolved. Like, diba, isa na lang kasi ang commissioner.
Wala pa kasi siya, di ba? I think
Kasi-
parating pa lang yata si Presidente today from South, UAE?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
But for me, Attorney Trix, itong parang nagiging joke na tuloy ito
ICI.
You'll see this would reflect the seriousness of this government, no, in really trying to put into
Kasi
to put to
in the
jail
first
yung mga
place-
big fish.
Correct. In the first place, people were asking bakit may ICI, may ombudsman naman. And in fact, the ombudsman was appointed by the president quite recently and he looks ganado naman, di ba? And then, yan na, nag-resign si Sec. Babes, nag-resign si
Commissioner
Ma'am,
Fajardo,
si Commissioner
na
Fajardo.
hindi ko
oo.
kamag-anak, I think, ha? Hindi
Okay,
kami
may
magkakilala.
disclaimer. Pero ang and the way she tendered her resignation, maayos naman siya, but she did say na tapos na yung work niya. So the impression was that the ICI was winding down kasi may naka-file na bill sa Congress.
Yeah, oo. Which is,
Pero-
yun na nga, alam mo, tama yun. Dapat talaga, if we want a more permanent na independent body, it has to be, in a law, di ba?
It has to
Kasi,
be, yes.
and dapat budgeted,
Institutionalized,
structured, at
yes.
para ma-institutional, even beyond this administration.
Correct.
So, I think ICI was a knee-jerk reaction yata ng administration. No? Ako naman, I still
I
appreciate the
contest the
fact.
knee-jerk part kasi ang tagal eh. Bago bago na-create.
Sa bagay
diba?
rin. No? Pero my point is, I mean, for me, okay rin ako na I appreciate the fact that, the administration is trying to do something about the clamor of the public. Pero obviously, mukhang hindi masyado talagang napag-aralan nitong ICI at hindi, parang it was designed to fail, diba?
Kasi fact-finding lang siya and wala siyang anything, no actual powers kasi created by executive order. So the question nga was, ano yung purpose ng ICI? Was it to investigate, to dedicate a group of people to that? But you could create a task force under the ombudsman or in cooperation with other agencies. Instead, yun na nga, may ICI. So may bills na naka-file in the Congress, pero mukhang mabagal yata
yung independent
ang galaw
body
natin.
with hopefully this is going to be a more permanent independent body with broader authority, which brings me to the next point of our noted na nasa headline daw yung dapat ito kasi priority bill ni PBBM pero hindi yata isama ito as priority bill, di ba, of this
Pwede
administration.
Pa naman eh. Diba?
Yes,
It can happen at any time. There is a liaison officer for the between the executive and the House. They can all sit down and say na, sige, gawin natin priority to because the president was the one who initiated this entire investigation.
At saka may budget ba that was allocated for the ICI, if ever, in the 2026 budget?
Parang
for that bill,
parang
for that
walang
matter, no?
napag-usapan.
Oo, kasi importante ito, no? Because it sends signal also to the public and to the world that, the government is serious about, doing something about the scandal in the flood control and that we're taking it really seriously, di ba? So
obviously,
kaya
parang
ang,
hindi.
Kaya ang ano ko dito again is going back to our yung next natin, yung ating next headliner, which is Senate President Tito Soto has assured that the Senate will act on impeachment drafts forthwith. Ito ba talaga necessary?
Di na nagpaparinig.
Well, patama rin, di ba, kay Secretary Cheese. Pero ang akin, mas importante ba talaga itong mga impeachment na ito kaysa dito sa ICI, for example, that independent commission, the Cadena Bill, yung mga priority bills na transparency. These are the bills that we really need Congress and Senate to act. Dahil, hindi ba, ang gusto natin talaga is more permanent solution to these issues di ba? Impeachment, di ba? Yan ang Attorney Trixie, yan ang stand ko, both for the President and the Vice President.
Correct.
Pero si Senator Soto, sumisipatama, sumisimple.
And
Senator Cheese.
Well, Senator Cheese, in fairness to him, na clear siya sa COMELEC for the issue on donations, but there are other cases being filed for graft in his capacity before as governor of Sorsogon. So it looks like, kumbaga, on the part of Senator Cheese, maliwanag, sinasabi niya that this is a campaign against him, and yung mga statements katulad nung kay Senate President Soto, they add fuel to this fire.
Yeah, oo nga. Na feeling ko unnecessary at this point, no? As I said, they have very limited time left, in this administration, and there's so much things to do. Do we really want all our efforts and resources and their time, their limited time, to be put on the impeachment? Kailangan ba ng bansa natin ito ngayon, Attorney Trixie? Kasi another reason na naman for us to be divided. And ang inflation, sinabi nga, hindi naman nararamdaman, bumababa. How's our economy? And we'll hear more about that from our guest,
Yes, later.
Excited talaga ako sa guest natin this
What
morning.
happens kasi rin here is that it slows down, to the public, it slows down the investigation or the inquiry into into flood control and other anomalies. And parang ang sabi nga nila is it distracts the issue.
Yeah,
Pupunta na naman dito
divert
sa
na naman ang ating attention and our priorities, 'di ba?
But then,
at saka first time mangyayari to, if ever, nasabay magkakaroon ng impeachment case with the President and the Vice President. Kagulo na naman ito.
But of course, yung sa President, wala, ang nagsabi niya ni si Congressman Erice, no? From other congressmen, wala tayong naririnig. On the other hand, yung kay VP Sara, the same cast of thousands ang nagpupush ng kanyang impeachment.
Yeah.
So,
pero mas meron akong excited na gustong tanungin sa iyo Ano ba itong mga intriga about you and Auntie Claire?
First of all, wala kaming away ni Undersecretary Claire. She went to the NBI yesterday to file a report supposedly about a post made by Attorney Ahmed Paglinawan in our joint blog. There are several writers in that particular blog. So, according to her, there seems to be some threat contained in that post. So I invite everybody to have a look at that particular post and determine for yourself whether there is one. Legally speaking, it will not comply with the elements of grave threats under the revised penal code. So we have to say that clearly there must be some other reason than an actual fear on her part for filing the said report. So I'd also like to clear up, there is no case. She filed a report in the same way somebody would enter into a police blotter a particular incident. It's not a complaint necessarily, because if she's going to go by grave threats, then the city prosecutor is the actual venue for that filing. But instead, they want to ride on this particular issue. And it's clear for us that since the blog is critical of a particular administration, then this is some attempt to silence that.
Meron bang may particular ba kayong sinabi doon that she's reacting to?
There is, well, like I said, hindi ako nagsulat. So I don't,
so you're not sure
know.
Kung ano exactly
Hindi ko lang siya
reacting.
kabisado. But there's something like, Attorney Ahmed was saying something like, she has to be careful because the people she works with might not look so kindly on her anymore when the administration is done. So, but of course, it was in language that's a little bit more colorful than that.
Well,
So,
alam mo, medyo baka talagang si Attorney Claire hindi na masyadong nakakatulog lately. Parang marami na siya nakakaawa
It's
siya. Kasi,
part of
you know,
the job.
we've been there.
Okay,
You know,
yes, we
we've been
have.
there.
It's
Ako,
part
when
of the
I was the
job,
spokesperson, it was a very difficult time during the PGMA administration.
Oh,
Yun
yes,
yung,
of course.
alam mo yung parang haharap ka pa lang, ang tingin mo, ang tingin na sa'yo ng tao, hindi ka pa nagsasalita, eto na naman tong sinungaling na to, marami. You know, I mean, you know, so, hindi ka talaga pwede maging balat sibuyas dito sa trabaho natin. You have to be prepared. And ako, for me, I survive because I only say na, trabaho lang to. This is nothing personal. So if you really take it personally, talo ka talaga. Ikaw mapipikon. So, pero at least pinasisikat ka niya lalo, Attorney Trixie.
Kailangan ba? But thank you very much for that, for all the attention. Because, well, those are the headlines noted by the spokes today. We'll talk about the business sector's take on the 2026 national budget when the spokes returns after this short break.
The Spokes is back. This morning, we're joined by the voice of the country's largest business group, the president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI, Ferdinand Ferrer.
Welcome to the Spokes, Sir Perry.
Glad
to have
call
you
you
here.
Perry?
Yes, please call me Perry.
Yes,
Thank you.
No, thank you. Kasi Attorney Trix, as I said, no, this is his first live interview. I always hear him.
In studio.
In studio. Kaya, and he's always out of the country. He's very busy. So thank you so much, Perry, for being here.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. You know, it's nice to be here. It's good to be here.
Okay, so let's start. No, Attorney Trixie, first question.
From a business perspective, what is the strongest signal in the 2026 national budget?
Well, from the business side, from the private sector side, we're seeing on the 2026 budget, we're glad that there's prioritization on the education. We saw that education, at least on the academic side, has the top winner, or you can say the allocation in the budget.
But that's constitutionally required. So
but
in the past, hindi rin.
to see it, what we would
budgets.
like to see is the enforcement and the utilization, whether it is through additional schools, and important for us is the digitalization and getting all our schools, public or public schools nationwide,
That's one of
into
your
the internet.
advocacies, Perry, yung digitalization, right?
Yes. Yeah, because we saw during the pandemic that the schools, the public schools, and the MSMEs, but on the public school side, those who were not connected just stalled when it comes to education. But those who were connected continued in their educational track. So we saw a digression on the quality of the system and the output of the educational system caused by connectivity in our internet.
And this would really have an effect in the competitiveness of the country in terms of, manpower, hindi ba?
Oh, definitely. First, we're calling for educational parity, that what is taught here in Metro Manila is the same curriculum that is taught nationwide, preparing our students for the future. When you prepare students, it's going to take like 10, 12 years, but we have to really start now and catch up.
So what do you think? Are you saying that this budget also communicates stability already, or there is still uncertainty on program funds, etc.? I mean, on the other aspects of the budget, what are your
when we look at the budget on its macro side is 1.6 trillion, where we would like to hopefully participate and really get involved as industry and government public sector partner is on the implementation on where it's used. It's a lot of money. Now, if we are able to use it efficiently to improve whether the soft or hard infrastructure of the country, to make it competitive, the business sector were all in, but involved us in terms of whether it's monitoring or use our technology in costing. Right now, it's not enough that we allocate funds in certain project. What we are looking for is it the right cost for that project? Because the country needs so much improvement to be done. So the wise, efficient use of our budget is our top priority.
So more than what is seen in the budget, it's really how the government will implement it and how they are going to tap also the private sector in terms of your participation in the implementation of the hindi lang siguro sa implementation dapat ang private sector even during the planning
That's
I
right.
agree there.
Kasi regional development councils
minsan
natin
late na So, you're mentioning costing, and I assume that this strays into into corruption, into an issue of corruption, because that's one of the major areas kung saan nagkakaroon ng leakage. So,
yeah, that's we feel Attorney Trixie, we feel the same way. So before it is awarded,
yes,
we would like to be able to see and monitor and see if the cost for that project is aligned to the current market or at least Southeast Asia costing for that particular infrastructure or service project. It is available now. The data is available. We just have to harvest that data through several means. Private sector has their own way of getting data, and I am sure the ICT has a certain way. If we put that together, then we can assess, tama ba ang cost to build this or baka inflated?
Itong katulad in this case of the DPWH now budget, di ba? Si Sec Vince is saying na kaya binaba nila yung budget now ng DPWH kasi binabaan na rin nila yung cost, di ba? So, were you even consulted? Do you think that the industry was even consulted, or was this really just DPWH doing it?
I believe there was some consultation done with not with industry, but with companies who are these competencies on that construction or in building these roads or bridges. But it is really important. Binabaan yung budget for DPWH. I believe it's because they took out the fact. What we call is these are the corruption costs. Certainly, when you look at the billions of funds that went to the corruption, it would have improved the Philippines.
And hopefully, because you were already, the private sector were already consulted, hopefully, ito na yung mas realistic na cost ng mga infrastructure projects natin.
Realistic, more realistic budget. Now, the next step is when they do the implementation, that's where we want to be able to monitor and tama ba yung cost for this particular project? And this is where we can. We're here as supporters and we're here as partners with the government. Because ang makikinabang, who will benefit is the Filipinos.
Of course, oo. And the business sectors as well.
Absolutely.
The business sector as well. So,
Dun sa what do you think about the unprogrammed funds? How does the business sector react to the move of the president to veto the unprogrammed funds?
Step one, it's good.
Okay.
At least it was
Why
vetoed.
would it be good?
But we would,
Nabawasan.
but we would,
Nabawasan
hopefully
ba talaga?
totally eliminate.
You would have
program,
wanted
you mean,
for it to be totally eliminated.
It would have been yes, because hopefully we don't call it. We call it a different term. Unprogrammed funds has a negative connotation now.
That's true.
So if we just remove it, everything is programmed. We understand that there are certain projects or needs that just come up.
Yes.
Then we can look at it. Similar to business side, there are items that just needs investment. So we can talk to it.
Yes.
We can talk to our board to get it approved. And the president has the Congress to get
create
funds
the
if
law.
it's necessary.
I think the one of the explanation about the unprogrammed funds is why it's necessary. It's also because of our loan, what you call this, yung grants natin and loan from abroad, diba? From World Bank, etc. No, which is not the same as iba yung fiscal year kasi nila, diba? When the loan will be approved. So that's one of the...
And
but
when
the
it
thing
comes
is,
due,
and when
important.
becomes due, no? Pero ang tama yung point ni Perry about saying na sana hindi nilang tinawag na unprogrammed funds kasi nga I think very critical ngayon yung trust and confidence also. That
I agree
the
with that.
budget is
But
really
the
very
unprogrammed
credible.
kasi, they're collected during the year, and they're only allocated, or should be, if you follow the rules, they should be allocated only to those items that already have a line item budget in the in the GAA.
Yes.
So for example, and I know because as head of agency, sometimes you don't get your full budget. So, for example, ako, kulang yung, walang cars
Kasi
yung mga
kulang pa yung
reporters ko.
revenues.
So, we needed cars because you have no, alam mo, mag-grab yung mga reporters mo. So, to respond quickly. So, when there's extra funds and may item ako, hindi
You must
lang
have an
napondohan
allowance
ng
there.
buo ng Congress, the DBM will release that. So that's in a good year. If you follow the rules, hindi issue yung unprogrammed before.
Correct.
Naging issue lang noong 2024 when suddenly it ballooned because they needed to make space for the
2023
ayuda.
pa.
That's
Di ba? I think nag-start pa
Kasi
2023.
2024 budget.
Did PCCI take the same stand in the
Yes.
past?
Was there an
budget?
opinion here?
Yeah, we always support the government when it comes to budgets.
Okay.
The PCCI stand is always on how it's used.
Yes.
The Philippines,
Utilization.
definitely we need to catch up when it comes to infrastructure. So we're happy that they're allocating funds for infrastructure.
Hindi kayo nakukulangan because it primes the economy,
Yun,
the infrastructure.
It's a participant in the economy. Yeah.
Now, what happened last year when we saw the amount being diverted to corruption, in our minds is, what would it have been in the Philippines? From the subways to the freeways.
Yeah.
Imagine the pakinabang of our Filipinos.
I agree.
If this one was completed or started or continued 2 or 3 years ago, or even before that. So now that we see the impact and what it could have been, that's why we want the private sector wants to get involved in the monitoring side. Is we do not want to let it happen in the future because the Philippines is prime. We want to get back to be one of the top foreign and local investment countries in our region.
So when sorry, Terence,
Go ahead.
you've been talking about monitoring. What's in your mind? How do you think that you can the private sector be best involved in the monitoring of these projects?
When it comes to, as an idea, we have the regional development councils throughout the country. We want the private sector to be a permanent seat.
Seryosohin yung Regional Development Council outcome also.
Yeah, we want to have permanent seats in the Regional Development Council. So when projects are being discussed, at least we have a say. Yes, that is correct. Thank you. Let's build it. And then from there, we go to the costing side.
Policy kasi yung Regional Development Council. So, I like the idea na kasi yung sa costing, that's very practical. You actually participate in the bidding process. I think dapat sa bidding process pa lang, nag-i-evaluate na ng documents from a third source. Not kasi if you leave it all up to a certain group, edi tapos tayo. Diba? Sila na lang magkakasunduan, magkikindata na lang yan.
Yeah.
But if there is a third party involved in at least evaluating the costs, I think this is your idea, right?
That's correct. During the bidding process, we can use technology. There is technology and how to evaluate very quickly. We're not there to say yay or nay, but we're there to bring the red flag
if ever.
There are certain sections of this proposal that is 5, 6, 10x what the normal mercado is costing it. You know, that type.
Subject to justifications
Yes.
yan.
Tsaka ako, I've always been an advocate of the Regional Development Council. I strongly believe in it kasi hindi lang yung costing, yung pag-prioritize ng mga proyekto ng gobyerno, dapat talaga nako-consult nila yung mga stakeholders,
Wala na yung mga
especially
singit.
the business sector kasi you will be affected by that, di ba? So kayo yung may direct na naaapektuhan dun sa mga policies and plans ng government. And that's why we have to bring it on the ground and really private sector has to have a strong participation in that area.
With what has happened in 2025 in all the scandals, and the more that we would like to be able to at least have a voice or at least give a say on where all these taxpayers' funds, you know, we don't want, huwag nyo nang bawasan, pero let's use it properly because there's so much that we need to accelerate the improvement.
And catch up on, di ba?
Yes, and we are primed, we are here as still destination.
Pwede ba nating explain ng konting-konti lang, very quickly, ano yung Regional Development Council for our audience who are not very familiar with it, diba?
Yes,
No, kasi it composes of different sectors, the government, the local government, national government, private sector, and the civil society groups. And then you gather together as a group and then discuss the priority programs that is needed by the region, diba? And then you forward this, the same, no? As a collegial body, you forward this recommendation to the national government, and the national government, dapat yun ngayon ang basis ng national government in their budget, no, in prioritizing in consideration of prioritizing the budget for these recommended projects, di ba? Na tingin ko hindi nangyayari. At kung nangyari, di ba, as you're saying, Perry, siguro naiwasan natin itong mga flood control scandals na ito, di ba?
If we had an efficient way of going through that process, there won't be any ghost projects. At least we believe that because it is also a responsibility on that in that forum. Bakit may ganito?
Just to contextualize, the reason, yung sinasabi ni Sir, is that yung mga singit kasi, if we create a, kumbaga, rock-solid priority development wish list, list of the projects, kasi it's the singit project, sorry for the term, that actually costs so much, that is the beneficiary of so much corruption. So magpapasok ka ng what we call the puchu-puchu projects, that are, they're not contained in the priority projects. So they're put in there simply for one reason. It's graft. It's to line the pockets of somebody. So you have these ephemeral projects like cleanups that you don't actually see if there's any cleanup, or dredging where you don't actually see any dredging. So yung mga ganon, so yung mga ephemeral, and we want a more rock solid one. And if the private sector were more involved, do you think that it would be able to cut off these leakages?
If and when the private sector is there, we would have red flagged it. What is this?
See?
We are not in a position to stop anything because it is not in our constitution. But red flagging it is very important. To highlight it. So it's and that's where we want to position our. I mean, not only the Philippine Chamber, but the private sector. Although Philippine Chamber of Commerce is nationwide, we do have representations throughout the Philippines. But we
most
would
of
like
the Regional Development Council may mga representatives ang PCCI. I assume, no?
in some, yes, in some.
Dapat lahat na,
should
no? Dapat lahat ng
institutionalize,
RDCs, yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice. One of the biggest difference on the scandal in the second half of last year, the Filipinos felt it.
Yes, sir.
Maybe in the past, I don't want to go through history, it was, headlines, paper, but now we call it the flood control.
Yeah.
I mean, there were Filipinos na talagang nabaha and
Namatay.
really, exactly.
Yeah.
So it really hit Filipinos hard and yan pala napunta. And then the scandalous when you show wads and wads or piles of money. It was very...
It was scandalous.
Visually,
Correct. Painful.
visually, you know, when you have your employees in the factory ask you, yung ba yung pera namin? Then it really hits. From the private sector side, we heard and saw that.
And
We really want to get involved now because the future is still bright for the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yun ang maganda.
Well, on another note, no, what are your thoughts on the 24 billion penalties over canceled Relly Solar Philippine contracts? But before you answer that, we'll just take a short break, Perry, and we'll be back after this.
And the spokes is back, still with PCCI President Ferrer. Our hanging question, what are your thoughts on the 24 billion penalties imposed or proposed to be imposed on Congressman Leandro Leviste for the Solar Philippine contracts?
Well, our take on that, regardless of who the company is or who it was, if you have contractual obligations, whether it's the government or the private sector or to any business, we are here to comply and deliver. We believe it so happens this is related to energy.
Yes.
Kuryente, which
pinpoint yan sa mga negosyante ngayon, di ba?
That's correct. This is what our country needs, and it's such a big non-performance when it comes to delivering what was committed. This is where the investor is saying, you know, we're seeing in the near future probably some relief on the cost of energy because of all these incoming energy sources. Now that it will not happen, or it doesn't look like it will happen, so the investors are saying one of our top challenges is energy. Energy security and also energy cost. So with this massive amount of, I forgot how many gigawatts, that will not happen.
I think the Solar Philippines represents 64% of the renewable energy in the country.
And 64% is a huge amount that will not happen. So we're telling our kababayan, our Filipinos, and let alone the investors, hindi muna. Wala muna. And to the investors,
may shifting muna yung kuryente nyo.
Because globally, a lot of the manufacturing are shifting to clean energy.
Yes.
And when we pronounce that we will have this amount of clean energy, renewable energy coming into our grid, and in this coming years, so it's very attractive. It's very attractive to foreign investors because a lot of their, like in the EU, there's a mandate to be 100% renewable.
By a certain year, I think.
Not all countries are able to do that. But Philippines, with that pronouncement before, pwede.
Yeah.
So
may hope na meron sanang hope no?
Pero now that, from our point of view, now that it will not happen, it raises question marks. Okay, let's look at other places because it's one of the mandates on like the EU and some other countries, renewable energy.
In other words, this is not good for business.
Yeah.
It doesn't
signals a bad signal.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not a good signal to both our kababayan Filipinos and also the foreign. Now, so this happened.
Yeah.
The next, what we're going to do, what are we going to do about it? What are the other sources that we can replenish or compensate what will not go into the grid?
So in addition to which, PCCI said that jail time alone will not address the issue of corruption. So what's missing? What's missing in the government's approach?
Reform. I mean,
Sige.
massive
Particularly.
massive disruptive reforms in the whole procedural and also in the process. And not only in one
Are you
agency.
talking about
several.
the judicial processes or executive processes? What
Are there very specific reforms that you have in mind that you would really ask the president to focus on?
The near term is on the judicial efficiency. Is once we find somebody who is suspected to be guilty or involved, or yes, correct, to be involved in anomalies, dapat mabilis na yan.
So nababagalan kayo, in other words, no, with how it is going now?
I think the country.
Yeah.
I think the Filipinos
So
are
if it
what
is-
is happening, and is there something happening behind the scenes, or because
there you go.
in other we see it in other countries, it's much faster.
Alright,
I'm not saying fast, but
Pero
much
bakit
faster
tayo,
than
we cannot do it?
correct. So there is this certain maybe
May doubts.
Yes.
Okay.
And then after the judicial is also on the process of all this, from bidding to allocating to finding what are the right projects.
As you said, in their RDC, no?
So those two items, we really believe magandang Pilipinas.
So in real terms, how does corruption affect the private sector, MSMEs, or regular businesses?
Now we
Take note,
understand. Now in the private sector, I'll just talk about first in the Philippines. Now that we understand that the cost to operate in the Philippines could have been lower.
Yun.
Currently,
Predictability
with
rin,
all the global market headwinds or uncertainty, from the tariffs to cost of oil affecting the cost of everything. We are an import nation.
Yes.
So it could have been lower. Logistics cost possibly could have been lower with good
With all the infrastructure.
Exactly. The healthcare system or the medical healthcare system, with all these flood controls, and maybe could have been lower. We could have pumped more preventive healthcare programs to...
Or more funds in the universal healthcare.
Exactly. So the cost of operating in the Philippines, we believe, could, because of what we saw.
Yes.
We have to do some more details, could have been lower. Now, from a foreign standpoint, when they look at the bottom line, when they look at the different countries, the first thing that comes to their mind, because we in the Philippines, we announce, corruption is 20% here, 30%. So they're saying, yan ba idadag cost ko? When I go to the Philippines, is it going to cost me 20% more? These are just the way they think. Because we announced it to the world that this is, for every project, it's this much. So the foreign investors are saying, is this what's going to cost me? So now we, in the private sector, especially the industries who are trying to attract these foreign investors, we have to say no. There are certain areas, especially just to put the economic zones. We have the economic zones all over the Philippines where a lot of these manufacturing and services, no, hindi apektado yan. The cost of doing business there is still stable. So we have to do some, not marketing, but telling our foreign investors, no, these are isolated cases, certain sectors that then the judicial efficiency comes in. We will clean up. We will ayos.
Itong business confidence
ayun,
ngayon.
after everything.
Yeah, after everything.
What do you think?
Is the business worried, pressured, or are you confident enough?
We are confident, from the business sector, both local and foreign, we are confident the Philippines has opportunity.
Okay.
It's no question we have opportunities. Where we would like to see how to convert the opportunity to real contracts is how fast do we get out of this scandal? Then it gives credibility and confidence to us Filipinos to reinvest in our country, and also to the foreign investors. Yeah, they had a problem, they fixed it, and now the fix is long-term fix. Then we can get back up. Within we're hosting ASEAN this year. Within the ASEAN region, I think we're number 2 when it comes to growth. So definitely, and that was a conservative number. So we really have a good future ahead of us. We probably had a big bump. Ayusin natin.
Yeah. So you think mas importante talaga yung economical survival kaysa sa political survival, Perry, di ba?
The country...
So, this is a tough question. Nandito na tayo
This will be a
sa
series
part
of
na
questions.
The politics will always change every 6 years. The business and the economic resilience of the country will be here in the next decades. And so we have to really protect the economic and really have economic resilience for the country, not just for now, it's for the future. And we have to prepare for that. And
But isn't it that business cannot be divorced from the politics? So if, for instance, meron tayong reform-driven administration, and it goes through the process, many of those who are in the private sector, businesses, are closely, if not incestuously, involved in some of these corruption activities.
Sabi nga, it's always a two-way street, di ba, Perry?
Absolutely.
Kung walang corrupt, walang magko-corrupt, walang corrupt.
So this is where hopefully the reforms, I'm not saying we are wholly in the private sector, and you're correct, it's a two-way street.
Okay.
This is where hopefully it opened everybody's eyes of what happened. And that's why the private sector now would like to be part and partner of the government in getting this scandal behind us and move forward.
So you're saying, as a tough question, that the private sector is willing to undergo this pain process para lang maayos na once and for all itong mga scandal natin ngayon. And we can go through a more permanent and long-lasting solutions and reforms.
The private sector has no choice.
Okay.
The business is not, there's no election in business, the business, the large businesses here, I think their plans is for the next 20, 30, 50 years. Similarly to the entrepreneurs, nobody puts up a business, okay, next administration, I'll change. They're really, what do we need from the private sector? We're asking the government, saan kami makakatulong? We're here to help for our survival and the future of our businesses.
I agree with that. But again, additional tough question, isn't the silence of business part of the problem? Not just silence. In some instances, direct involvement.
It is a tough question. So I believe now, a lot of the business communities, not only here in the urban areas, are saying, where can we help?
Yeah.
Saan kami makakatulong? Now, we don't want to help, we don't want small little projects where private sector helps. Hopefully, there will be a national program.
More
Lahat
impactful
tayo,
projects.
this is our program from the private sector. Let's help. This is for our apo and our children. Certain, we really feel it's a good position, but it's going to hurt now.
Yeah. Again, very specific, Perry. What are the involvement that you want aside from monitoring? You're saying digitalization, good governance. Are there very specific ideas that you want? If you can talk to the president now, is there a specific wish that you would like to tell him na, involve the private sector, we can help you in this area, and this is what we want from you in return?
For the now, there is the now, short term, and then there's the major. For the now, get us in this involved. The budget is done. Get us into the budget, meaning let us monitor where are all these numbers coming from in terms of now let's look where are they going to be spent, and give us a voice. Give us a voice and say, tama yan. But hindi tama yung cost. Pero tama yan. And then, ask the private sector where. this 1.6 trillion of budget, where should we spend it, although it's already allocated? But for example, in DepEd, okay, how can we move our academic, the curriculum to the next level? How can digitalization help? The future really is in our kids, in our students, in our children, and we just have to give them a good structure.
Give them a good foundation.
A good foundation, political structure that if it's when it's their turn,
so,
maayos na.
May pag-asa yung bayan. Kailangan lang talaga makita lang natin how this government will react to all of this scandal now.
100% we believe the Philippines is ripe for the future. We absolutely have a good demographic asset, which is our people, 118 million, I believe. Very young, which I'm not part of it. Yeah, there I think the average age is 25. Now, what can we do with this gold mine to bring it forward? Then we can really leapfrog. Now, it starts from developing them with all these technologies. We believe in our future, and you're correct, Relly. Let's do some massive disruptive reforms now to reassure the next generations or the next administrations that
thank you.
ito maayos.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir
Ferry. Thank you so much, Ferry, for this wonderful conversation. We wish we have more time. Maybe we can invite him again in the future. So for now,
we'll leave you with the thought that you don't need to hear just one side of the story.
Because every issue has two perspectives and the truth may be somewhere in between.
I'm former Press Secretary Attorney 𝐒𝐏𝐿𝐶,
Relly Fajardo po, and we are The Spokes.